Hello everyone and welcome to AHS Countdown. I'm your host Reese Kinder. I'm joined by my co-host here, Charlie McGowan. And today we got a huge matchup between the Auburn High Tigers and the Opelika Bulldogs. This is a rivalry game, and I mean, it will be a huge game tonight. The 99th meeting between these two crosstown rivals, and last year we saw a thriller as the Tigers pulled out at the end 31-30 on the road. But now with that, let's get started off with the Opelika Bulldogs. They are currently 2-0 coming off of a big win last week. And, I mean, this Opelika Bulldogs team with a new head coach and a few recruits actually committed to Auburn University, looking really good to start this season. With all that being said, what are some things that this Opelika team will need to do to secure a big win, Charlie?
Yeah, Reese, Opelika's got to come into Duck Sanford Stadium into a hostile environment. And this offense really needs to put on a really big performance to get this dub. The passing game definitely has to be top tier. The rushing game will have to be top tier too, but this Tiger D-line is just really good at stopping the run, as they showed against Vestavia and North Miami Beach. So Colby Key and the Opelika Bulldogs wide receiver unit is going to have to get the job done on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, this Opelika defense too is not anything to mess around with. You know, have only given up a total of 27 points this season. I mean, I know you're playing some lower tier opponents, but still that's pretty good, considering that they have some recruits like Malik Altry on their defense. And, I mean, honestly, this Opelika defense, if they can play good tonight, I think they have a good chance of beating this Tigers team, who hasn't really shown any mercy on offense. But now with that, we're going to get into Auburn's season so far. And, you know, coming off a big win, 52-17 against the Vestavia Hills Rebels, Tigers are currently 2-0, looking for a really good start to the season at 3-0. And with that being said, what are some things the Tigers need to get it done against the Bulldogs tonight?
Yeah, Tigers, like you said, they had a really big win last week against Vestavia. They did a really good job through the air and on the ground. I think the ground game is just something that they can always go back to and rely on. But they've showed a lot in these first 2 weeks that they really can rely on the air. And this wide receiver unit for the Tigers really taking a big leap from last year. So I think, honestly, if they can just give Kilgore some good protection back there, I think they'll be fine on tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers' defense, like I said, first game gave up 0 points, and then last game gave up 17. So the Tigers' defense has been really good this season. And like you said, you said earlier, Auburn's offensive or defensive line has been really good. So, I mean, if this defensive line can continue to play good tonight, I think the Tigers come out with a big win on this rivalry game, and it's gonna be very tough, but I think they can do it. But now, with that, this rivalry game, there's a lot to play for tonight. If Opelika wins this game, they will be 3-0 and leading the region. And if Auburn wins, they will be 3-0 leading the region. So high stakes for both of these teams tonight. And what are some things that the Tigers need to improve on to come out on top in this game?
Yeah, Reese, the Auburn offense did pretty well last week, but the Tigers' O-line kind of forced Jackson Kilgore to make some plays with his leg, which he did really well. But this tonight, if they're going to do that again, it might not be the same result as last week.
Yeah, I mean, this Tigers defense, really, if you look at it, they had a few broken pass coverages last week, allowed the quarterback for Vestavia Hills, Tafe, to kind of get out of the pocket and just run all over the place. So the Tigers really need to contain Opelika's quarterback tonight and make sure there's no broken pass coverages if they want to win this one. But with that, now we're going to move into the keys to the game segment. And Auburn has different X factors that can help them win this game tonight. And what do you think those X factors will be in this game?
Definitely this Tiger wide receiver core. They really showcased their talent last week against Vestavia. I mean, just really running around the Rebel defense. So if they have that going, I don't see a way where the Bulldogs come out of Duck Sanford with a win.
Yeah, I mean, last week Tigers defense had a few. They actually had an interception a week before, had a fumble recovery, and I mean that defense has just been unstoppable so far this season. And if you can get some stops and cause some havoc like you did against Vestavia Hills, I think the Tigers are going to run away with this one. But with that, now we will move in to our player profiles segment, and this is where we will highlight one player that are either on offense and defense that will play a crucial part into tonight's game for Auburn High. Charlie, who do you have as your player profile tonight?
I have Joshua Askew. He had a field day last week against Vestavia Hills. Not sure if he got a touchdown or not. I don't think he did, but he really was just all over the place through the air and was Jackson Kilgore's probably his top target, along with Peyton Plott, but I think Josh Askew was silently the key to last game.
Yeah, I mean, that receiving core, very fast receiving core we got here. But for my player profile, I'm going with number 0, senior defensive end, Caleb Pitts. I think his pass rush will play a key factor into tonight's game, especially with what we saw last week. He was able to force some pressure on Vestavia's quarterback at the end of that first half and, make them lose some momentum going into halftime. And then he also has some great defensive plays this season. And I think if he plays good tonight, I think the Tigers get a big win against their crosstown rivals, the Opelika Bulldogs. But with that, now we're going to send you to a quick commercial break. But don't go away and stay tuned for tonight's Friday night lineup. And welcome back to AHS Countdown. Last week, you guys saw former sports director Max Mesman. He went 4-2 as our first guest picker. Sadly, we don't have a guest picker this week, but we're just gonna have to roll with it. And now we're gonna move into tonight's Friday night lineup, where we pick some of the best games around the region. And with our first game up, it's number 16 Hoover at number 5 Hillcrest. And Charlie, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I have Hillcrest. I'll just go ahead and say it out there. Hoover coming off a really tough loss from last week or it was at Hoover, but Spain Park coming in and winning. So I think Hoover's morale is kind of down, and going to Hillcrest, I think Hillcrest is going to run away with it. Yeah,
and Charlie, I actually think I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go with number 16 Hoover taking the win at Hillcrest, and I think it's going to be a close one, 21-10, and I think Hoover's going to get the job done and improve to 2-1 on the season and possibly move up in these rankings. But with that, now we're going to move into the next game, and it is number 6 Enterprise at number 10 Dothan. This is probably one of the better matchups of the night besides Auburn and Opelika. And this game at Dothan, very high stakes for both of these teams. Enterprise, and we saw them last week barely beat a Pike Road team that's decent, and then we saw Dothan last week get a big win. So both teams are 2-0. And Charlie, who do you got in this one?
I got Dothan in this one. It is at Dothan, and like you said, Dothan is coming off a big win, and Enterprise did not look really impressive against Pike Road last week. This is a really, like you said, this is a really good game to watch. I'm going to be tuned in because Auburn does go on the road to both of these teams later down the.
Actually, Dothan's at home.
Dothan's at home.
Yeah.
Still, we play both of these teams.
Yeah, we play both of these teams.
So this is definitely one of the games to watch. I'm going to go with Dothan.
Yeah, Auburn playing Enterprise next week, so at Enterprise, going to be a very tough game. And I'm going to have to go with Dothan here because like you said, the Pike Road game was just kind of too close to call there. And I think Dothan's going to have a lot of momentum, especially being ranked 10th now. Yeah. And I see Dothan just getting a big win at home against the Wildcats and improving to 3-0 on the season. And now we're going to move into our third matchup of the night, which is number 24 Daphne at number 12 Mary G. Montgomery. Mary G. Montgomery coming off of a win, and Daphne 2-0. So good start for both of these teams already. And Charlie, who do you got in this game?
Yeah, good start for both these teams, but I am going to go for the home team, Mary G. Montgomery. I've gone for the home team all picks, but that's not the reason why. I think Mary G. Montgomery is a really talented team, and I think Daphne is also a really talented team, but I think Mary G. Montgomery is too much to handle for the Daphne team.
Yeah, I would say Mary G. Montgomery's defense very good. Offense, a little slow that first game. Lost that game by a field goal, 17-14. But I still see MGM coming out with a win here. But it's going to be close. I say say honestly 17-10 in this one. I say it's a low-scoring game, just a lot of defense played, but I'm going with MGM on this game. And now with our fourth matchup of the night, it's going to be number 18 Prattville at Oak Mountain. So very good matchup. Oak Mountain in 6A, so is Prattville. So both of these teams highly rated in 6A. And I mean, Prattville 2-0, and so is Oak Mountain. So should be a good matchup. And Charlie, who do you got in this one?
I do have Prattville in this one. I think Prattville offense has looked good so far in this beginning of the season. I think Oak Mountain's a talented team, but I do think Prattville comes into Birmingham and gets a big win early in the season. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Oak Mountain. Actually, I'm gonna go kind of with the upset here, and I'm gonna say Oak Mountain gets the win because this Oak Mountain team last year had a really good season in 6A, and I think they're gonna have it again here playing Prattville at home, and I think Oak Mountain's gonna end up winning this one. I'm gonna say 35-28.
Okay.
I say Oak Mountain wins in a high-scoring battle between these two teams. But with that, now we're ready for the matchup of the day. It's the number 23 Opelika Bulldogs at the number 7 Auburn Tigers, and this one's going to be a good one. Rivalry game, very big week for high school football in Alabama this week. A lot of rank-to-rank matchups, and this is another big one. And these Opelika Bulldogs 2-0, so are these Auburn Tigers, and both teams coming off big wins. So Charlie, who do you got in this big stellar matchup between Auburn High Tigers?
I think this is going to be a really, really fun game to watch. It's going to be two firepower of offenses and two really good, solid defenses. Like you said, Malik Autry committed to Auburn from this Opelika defense. But I think it'll be a shootout in the first half, but I think Tigers will pull away in the second half with Joshua Askew and the rest of the receiving corps. I think they're a little bit too much to handle for this Opelika secondary.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said we haven't really played a good enough secondary yet, but we're about to see against this Bulldogs team. And I do think I'm going to go with Auburn as well. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring battle like it was last year. And actually, I'm going to say this game is going to be 45-42, probably one of the highest-scoring battles that we've seen in this rivalry matchup. And that's going to do it for AHS Countdown. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. Big rivalry matchup, and we will see you guys at halftime.